Hello children, today we will be starting with a new chapter, chapter 9, Reproduction in Animals. And in today's video, we will be studying in detail about the reproductive organs in human beings. Okay, let's start. Yes, what do you mean by reproduction? Reproduction is the process of production of young individuals by parents, and the young individuals will be very much similar to the parents. So, the process of production of young ones similar to parents is what is called as reproduction. Okay, and the process of reproduction is very important for the maintenance or for the continuation of species in our world, or else the organisms will go extinct forever. If a new organism is not produced, if a new species is not produced, if the species is not continuing to the next generation, the species will definitely go extinct very soon. So, reproduction is a very essential process for the continuation of species. Okay. Yes. Now, there are two different types of reproduction. They are sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Now, the type of reproduction, the reproduction is actually classified on the basis of the number of parents involved. Okay, in the first one, in asexual reproduction, only one parent is involved, whereas in sexual reproduction, two parents are involved. So, on the basis of the number of parents involved, we classify reproduction into how many types, children? We classify it into two types. The first one where only one parent is involved, you call it as asexual reproduction, and the second one where two parents are involved, you call it as sexual reproduction. Okay. So, in this video, we will see in detail about sexual reproduction, the different reproductive organs of male and female which are involved in the process of sexual reproduction. So, shall we move on to the next slide? Yes, now we are going to study in detail about sexual reproduction. As I told you, how many parents are involved in this process? Yes, two parents. Okay, now one will be a male parent, the other one will be a female parent. Okay, so one male and one female parent will be involved in the process of sexual reproduction. Okay. Now, the reproductive cells which are produced from the male gamete, from the male, you call them as the male gamete. So, what do you mean by a gamete? Gamete is the reproductive cell. Okay, the cell which is capable of reproduction. You call it as the reproductive cell. You know, the normal cells in our body, actually we are having two different types of cells in our body. Number one, somatic cells, the cells which does not have the capacity to reproduce. The somatic cells can divide, they can produce the normal body cells during the process of our growth, wherever there is repair in our body. In all these cases, the somatic cells will be dividing and they will be performing their function there. But for the process of reproduction, another special type of cells called as reproductive cells are involved. Okay, so the reproductive cells alone can do the function of reproduction, and the reproductive cell of a male and female is entirely different in most of the higher animals. The male reproductive cells, okay, the male body will be producing male reproductive cells and the female body will be producing female reproductive cells. So, in total, how many different types of cells are there in our body? Two. The first one is somatic, the second one is reproductive cells. There are two different types of cells, somatic and reproductive cells. Now, the cells which are involved in the process of reproduction, you call them as reproductive cells and you give them a name, you call them as gametes. You pronounce it as gamete, but when you write it is gamete, E. But when you pronounce it is gamete, but when you write it is gamete. Is this clear? So, there is a male gamete and a female gamete. Okay. So, the reproductive cell of male is called as the male gamete. The reproductive cell of female, you call it as the female gamete. Now, the male gamete, you call it as sperm. The name for the male gamete is sperm, and that of female gamete is egg or ova. Both are same. Clear? So, the male gamete is otherwise called as the sperm. The female gamete is called as the egg or the ova. Now, the male gamete will fuse with the female gamete. Okay, the sperm and egg will fuse together. Okay, during this process of fusion, a product or a new cell is produced. You call the product as zygote, or the new cell which is produced as a result of this fusion, you call it as a zygote. Now, the zygote is the first cell which give rise to a new individual. The zygote will undergo repeated cell division and differentiation. Finally, it will give rise to a new individual. So, this is the whole process of sexual reproduction. If you want, you can pause this video and you can write it down in your textbook. Okay, so this is the whole process of sexual reproduction. This is very important. The whole chapter is based on this topic. The whole topic called as sexual reproduction, it is based on this slide only. Okay, now we are going to see in detail about each of this process. Okay, children. So now once more I will repeat it. Please listen. There are two parents involved in sexual reproduction. They are the male and the female parent. The male parent will produce reproductive cells called as male gamete. The reproductive cells of females, you call them as female gamete. The male gamete is named as the sperm. The female gamete, you call it as the egg or the ova. The egg and sperm will fuse together to form a cell called as the zygote. The zygote is the beginning of life of a new individual. The zygote will repeatedly divide and it will give rise to a new individual. Hope this slide is clear for you. Okay, children, let me move on to the next topic. Now we are going to see in detail about the male reproductive system or the male reproductive organ. Now, as it's shown in this diagram, this is the male reproductive system. The male reproductive system mainly consists of three parts. Okay, it is given as figure 9.1 in your textbook, figure 9.1. Now, this is the picture. The male reproductive system consists of three parts. See, the first part is the testis. This is number 1. So, the first part of the male reproductive system is a pair of testes. You will get them as a pair. There are two testes. Okay, a pair of testes is there. Starting from the testis, can you see a small tube? See, here also you can see a small tube, isn't it? You call this tube as the sperm duct. So, this is the second part of the male reproductive system. The sperm duct will come and fuse, okay, with another tube, see, and this tube will be continuing through the penis, and penis is the third part of the male reproductive system. Clear? So, once more, the male reproductive system starts with a pair of testes. A pair of sperm duct will start from the testis. The sperm duct will come and join into the penis. So, testis, sperm duct and penis. Both testis and sperm duct in pairs, penis a single one. Clear? Now we will see what are the functions of each of this part. The first one, testis. The main function of testis is the production of sperm. So testis will be producing sperms, production of sperm. Okay. Now what is the function of the sperm duct? The sperm which is produced from the testis will go out through the sperm duct. So, sperm duct will be transporting the sperm from testis to the penis. So, this transportation occurs through the sperm duct. And number 3, penis. Penis is an organ which will deposit the sperm onto the female body. So, that is the function of penis. It will deposit the sperm in the female body. So, understood the function of all three parts of the male reproductive system? Okay. So, the male reproductive gametes, you call them as, remember the name, you call them as sperms, and the sperms are produced inside this testis. Now, we will see in detail about a sperm or the male gamete. Okay. So, these are the male, the sperm is the male gamete. The sperm consists of three parts. It consists of a head, number 1, then it is having a middle piece, number 2, and finally it's having a long tail, number 3. So how many parts are there for a human sperm? 3. It's having a head, a middle piece and a tail. Inside the head you will get a nucleus. A single nucleus you can get inside the head. Okay. Now the second part is the middle piece, then comes the sperm. So these are the 3 parts of a human male gamete. Now at a time millions of sperms are produced from the testes. During every time, each testis, there is a pair of testes actually, or 2 in number. From every testis millions of sperms are released every time. Okay. Yes. So with this the male reproductive system is over. So the male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes, a pair of sperm duct and then a single penis. Inside the testis the male gamete called as sperm is produced. The sperm is again having 3 parts. It has a head, a middle piece and a tail. Hope this male reproductive system is clear for you. Okay? Yes. Now we will move on to the female reproductive system or the female reproductive organs. Again, the female reproductive system, as in case of male, it has 3 main parts. Okay? In male there was a pair of testes. Instead of testes, in females they are having a pair of ovary. See, one ovary here and the second one here. So ovary is the first part of the female reproductive system. Remember the male reproductive system? From the testis a tube or duct will be starting, isn't it? What do you call the tube as? You call it as a sperm duct. Similarly, from the ovary, see, tubes are arising. You call this tube as the oviduct or you call it as the fallopian tube. Both are same. So you have to study both the names. Fallopian tube or oviduct. This is the second part of the female reproductive system. And this fallopian tube from both the side will come and join into a uterus, which is part number 3. And how many uterus are there? There is only a single uterus. As in case of males, there is only a single penis. Here, there is only a single uterus. Hope it is clear. So, the female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries. Starting from the ovaries, you are having a tube called as a fallopian tube or the oviduct. The oviduct will come and join into the next part of the female reproductive system called as the uterus. Clear? Okay. Now coming to the functions. What was the function of testis there in male reproductive system? Testis will be producing sperm. Similarly, ovary will be producing eggs or the female gametes. Female gamete is otherwise called as egg, I told you, isn't it? Egg or ovum. So, the ovary will be producing the female gamete called as the egg. The egg which is produced from every ovary will be released into the fallopian tube. The fallopian tube will carry the egg through it into the uterus. Clear? Now, if during the time of this release of egg, suppose if this female body receives a sperm, if a sperm is deposited into this female body during the time of this egg release, what will happen? The sperm will be swimming and the sperm will be reaching this fallopian tube. Okay, here the sperm will meet an egg. So, this is the sperm, this is the egg. During the time of release of egg, a sperm also entered. This egg and sperm will fuse together to form a zygote. I showed you all these processes in the first slide. Remember, I told you to write it down in your textbook. The sperm and egg, the fusion product, you call it as the zygote. So, actually here a zygote will be produced if the egg receives a sperm for fusion. Okay, once the zygote is produced, the zygote will travel down the fallopian tube and it will reach the uterus. Okay, when it reaches the uterus, it will get attached onto the wall of the uterus. And what will the uterus do? The uterus will protect this zygote. The zygote will undergo repeated cell division. It will be forming a small human fetus. Okay, or whatever it is, it will be forming a small fetus and the child will be produced inside the uterus. The uterus will give protection to the child until the time of delivery. So, this is the function of uterus. It provides care and protection to the child till the time of delivery. Okay, so understood the three different functions of the three parts of female reproductive system. Ovary will release the female gamete called as egg. Fallopian tube will take the egg towards the uterus. Fallopian tube is actually having two functions. Number one, fallopian tube will take the egg towards the uterus. Number two, it is in the fallopian tube where the fusion of egg and sperm occurs. Nowhere else in human body the process of this fusion can occur. It occurs only in the fallopian tube. The fusion occurs only in the fallopian tube. So, that is the second function of fallopian tube. And coming to the third one, uterus. What is the function of uterus? The uterus will keep the zygote safe. Okay, the zygote will be undergoing repeated division, it will be forming an embryo, it will be forming a fetus, finally a small child will be formed there. The child will be given protection in the uterus until the time of delivery. So, with this the female reproductive system is also over. Hope it was clear. Now, we will see in detail about the female gamete or the egg. Now, see, this is a female gamete or egg. As we studied in case of sperm, sperm was a male gamete. How many nucleus did the sperm have? The sperm has only one nucleus, and remember where the nucleus of that sperm was located. Remember the three parts of the sperm. It was having a head, then yes a middle piece, then yes of course a tail, and the nucleus was located in its head. Similarly, here there is a single nucleus inside the egg. Okay, so this is the nucleus and this is the covering around the egg. So, again similar to the sperm, this egg cell is also a single cell with a single nucleus. Now, the major difference between the sperm and egg is that sperm, remember how many sperms were produced at a time? Millions of sperms will be produced at a time. But here in case of an egg, only one egg will be produced per month from the body of a human female, only one per month. Is this clear? So, male reproductive system is over, male gamete is over, female reproductive system, female gamete. Hope all these four topics are okay for you. Now, we will see the difference between an egg and a sperm, or the difference between the male and the female gamete. Now, what is the difference? Number one, egg is produced from the ovary. Okay, ovary is a part of female reproductive system, whereas a sperm is produced from the testis, which is a part of the male reproductive system. Now, the second difference is egg. Only single egg is released per month from one ovary, whereas millions of sperms are released every time from a single testis. Okay, the third difference is egg when compared to a sperm is large because it will be storing the food materials also inside it. So, comparatively egg will be bigger than the sperm. The sperm will be comparatively smaller. Now, this is a glimpse of the diagram of an egg and a human sperm, which we have already studied in detail. Okay, is that clear? Okay, now you studied what is a sperm and what is an egg. And in the first video, we studied one process, the sperm and egg will be fusing together to form a zygote, we studied, isn't it? Now, that process of fusion of a sperm and an egg, you call it as fertilization. So, what is fertilization? It is a fusion of a sperm with an egg. Actually, the sperm is having one nucleus inside its head. The egg is having one nucleus inside it. The nucleus of the sperm and the nucleus of the egg will come and fuse together. It will be forming a single nucleus. Okay, so the nuclei of the sperm will fuse with that of the egg. Okay, and the fusion product you call it as the zygote. Zygote is having one more name. It is otherwise called as the fertilized egg. Okay, simply egg means it is a female gamete. Fertilized egg means it is another name for a zygote. Now, this is the diagram of fertilization. See, lots of human sperm will be coming around the egg, but only one will get chance to enter into the egg, and only one will be fusing with the nuclei of the egg. So, inside the head of the sperm there is one nuclei, here also inside the egg there is another nuclei. These two nuclei will fuse together and you get a product called as zygote or fertilized egg. Okay. This is another diagram for fertilization. Again see, so many sperms will be coming, but only one will be entering. And after, once it is entering, the sperm, see the gamete of the sperm, the nuclei of the sperm and the nuclei of the egg, it is fusing together. See, can you see this? They are coming and fusing together. Finally, it will form a single nuclei of the zygote. See, this product is called as the zygote. Okay, so the fusion product, the product of fertilization is the zygote. Hope this video was clear to you. Okay, so with this we are stopping this video. We will see the details, the remaining details in the next video. So okay children, have a safe time. Bye.